$100,000 is often just the starting price for the specialized modifications found behind the driver's cab of an elite long-haul vehicle. Why would a professional driver invest the cost of a traditional family home into a machine designed for freight? It seems simple to view a truck as a mere tool for transport. But for those who spend 11 months of the year traversing the continent, the vehicle must transcend its mechanical purpose. Without these expansive living quarters, the physical and mental toll of the highway would become unsustainable for the industry's most dedicated operators. One can notice how the standard dimensions of a commercial vehicle are pushed to their physical limits as custom builders extend the chassis by several feet. These are not standard production models, but reinforced heavy-duty machines that retain their full towing capacity while supporting several tons of additional interior amenities. The process is only gaining momentum. Custom sleepers shatter every conventional expectation of life on the road by integrating full-scale kitchens and king-size sleeping quarters into the structure of the truck. It is visible how craftsmen install reclining leather sofas and hardwood flooring that would typically be found in high-end real estate. Everything only gets more complicated when engineers integrate complex plumbing and electrical systems to support fully functional bathrooms and lounge areas. At first glance, a semi-truck is a utilitarian object of steel and diesel, but in reality, these units are rolling mansions. Dual refrigerators and electric fireplaces are mounted into reinforced walls to provide a level of comfort that matches a luxury suite. The camera glides along the polished surfaces of granite countertops, where drivers prepare meals far removed from the limitations of roadside stops. Specialty builders design these environments from scratch to meet the hyper-specific ergonomic requirements of long-term travel. Every square inch of the cabin is calculated to serve a dual purpose, ensuring that the heavy-duty power under the hood is matched by an interior of absolute utility. But this is just the beginning. The transition to the next level of customization involves vehicles where the sleeper alone costs more than $300,000. These trucks represent the extreme pinnacle of highway engineering, featuring multi-room layouts and high-definition entertainment systems integrated directly into the sleeper walls. One can notice the seamless joinery between the original cab and the custom living space, creating a unified structure capable of enduring millions of miles of vibration and road stress. The final examples of this engineering movement demonstrate the absolute limits of what a mobile residence can achieve within the constraints of transport laws. These vehicles conclude the journey of transformation from a simple transport tool into a permanent high-performance home on wheels. The metal and machinery move forward, ready to face the demands of the open road without sacrificing a single luxury of modern living. 180 inches. This is the massive length of the custom sleeper cabin that transforms the Peterbilt 567 from a standard heavy-duty truck into a mobile estate. Why would a professional driver extend a vehicle frame to accommodate over 14 feet of additional living space? At first glance, such a modification seems like an impractical addition to an industrial machine, but in reality, for those who spend 365 days a year traversing the American highway system, this expansion serves as a vital primary residence. The engineering foundation remains rooted in extreme durability. One can notice the steady vibrations of the Packard MX-13 engine, a 12.9-liter powerhouse that generates 510 horsepower. This six-cylinder inline configuration produces 1,850 pound-feet of torque, ensuring the massive rig maintains momentum. A 12-speed automated transmission manages the power delivery to a 6x4 drivetrain. The equipment gradually compensates for the immense weight of the custom cabin through a sophisticated suspension architecture. A parabolic leaf spring setup handles the front axle, while the rear utilizes an air suspension system to stabilize the ride during steep climbs. Inside the cabin, the transition from machine to home is complete. The interior features a king-size bed, a full refrigerator, a microwave, and reclining seating. The camera glides along the high-end wood cabinetry and leather finishes that line the walls. It is visible how the integrated surround sound system and television transform the space into a private oasis. Everything only gets more complicated when considering the utility systems. The truck includes a full bathroom with a functional shower supported by independent climate control and numerous power outlets. Full thermal and acoustic insulation ensures the environment remains detached from the noise of the road. Drivers frequently commission these builds for transcontinental routes across the United States and Canada. The process is only gaining momentum as more operators choose to register these vehicles as their legal permanent residences. One specific driver fully customized his unit so he and his wife could live together full-time without sacrificing the comforts of a traditional house. Some owners even use these extended sleepers as central meeting points for their families while stationed at distant shipping hubs. Many professionals state they prefer the privacy of this crafted environment over the amenities of a roadside motel. But this is just the beginning. The next level of sleeper living introduces even more complex structural modifications. 32 feet, exactly 9.75 meters, is the length of this machine, making it nearly twice as long as a standard highway tractor. This Freightliner Argosy, a custom creation by Andy Babiak, commands attention from the very first moment it appears on the horizon. Why would a single driver require a vehicle of such massive proportions? The answer lies in the radical reconfiguration of the chassis, where the engine is mounted at the rear to liberate the entire front section for an expansive living environment. This structural shift allows for a seamless transition from the driver's seat into a mobile residence that defies conventional truck design. One can notice how the Detroit diesel inline-six engine occupies the rear housing, delivering 500 horsepower to the pavement. This power plant operates in tandem with a rear-wheel drive configuration and an automatic transmission, ensuring the ride remains smooth despite the significant increase in mass. At first glance, it seems like a standard heavy vehicle, but in reality, the mechanical layout is designed to support a lifestyle rather than a payload. But this is just the beginning. The extended sleeper cabin functions more like a studio apartment than a traditional resting compartment for long-haul drivers. It features a full kitchen, a complete bathroom, and a double bed, all integrated into a layout illuminated by ambient lighting and accented with refined wood finishes. One can notice how the equipment gradually transitions from industrial utility to high-end comfort, blending the backbone of a working truck with the amenities of a luxury recreational vehicle. It only looks obvious to call it a motorhome, but in reality, it retains the structural integrity of a heavy-duty freight mover. The process is only gaining momentum. Hand-painted murals cover the exterior panels, transforming the massive steel surfaces into a rolling piece of art. Every inch of the 32-foot frame reflects a personal aesthetic, with Andy Babiak himself having executed much of the paintwork. One can notice the intricate details of the imagery as the camera glides along the length of the chassis. Everything only gets more complicated when considering the timeline of the project. 5 years were required to bring the build from its initial concept to its final finish. This entire transformation was conducted independently, without the financial backing of sponsors or the technical support of a factory. The rig serves as a mobile biography, a life story documented in metal and paint that functions as a primary residence. Freedom on the road replaces the stationary nature of a traditional home, allowing for a continuous journey across the landscape. The next machine prepares to enter the frame, ready to challenge the standards set by this custom Freightliner. The Argosy continues its movement along the asphalt, a singular example of engineering driven by personal vision. The transformation of the heavy tractor is complete, leaving a finished statement of technical independence. 100 years of history are condensed into the steel and chrome of the Kenworth W 900L Limited Edition. Few vehicles on the modern highway carry as much legacy as this specific model, which serves as a rolling tribute to a century of American engineering. Why did the manufacturer choose this particular platform for such a significant milestone? The answer lies in the heritage of the long-nosed design, which remains a symbol of durability and power in the heavy-duty transport sector. This truck represents a rare intersection of exclusivity and raw industrial capability. But the 2024 model takes the concept of a long-haul vehicle to an unprecedented level. One can notice how the chassis extends far beyond standard dimensions to accommodate a sleeper unit that measures over 13 feet in length. This massive structure effectively transforms the traditional driver cabin into a fully realized luxury apartment on wheels. The process of moving such a massive frame requires immense mechanical output. Beneath the polished hood sits a Cummins X15 engine with a displacement of 15 liters. This power plant generates up to 605 horsepower and delivers more than 2,000 pound-feet of torque. It is visible how the 18-speed manual Eaton transmission manages this power through a 6x4 drivetrain configuration. Full air suspension ensures that the truck maintains a smooth profile across varying terrain, despite the added weight of the custom sleeper. It seems simple to prioritize power alone, but in reality, the integration of such a large living space requires a complete recalibration of the vehicle's balance. The process is only gaining momentum as one moves from the mechanical specifications to the interior environment. Inside the cabin, the transition from an industrial tool to a high-end residence is complete. One can notice the presence of integrated massage chairs and a gourmet kitchen equipped with stainless steel cabinetry. A spacious queen-sized bed and a fully functional bathroom provide amenities usually reserved for stationary architecture. Ambient light-emitting diode strips are recessed into the ceiling, creating a controlled environment that rivals premium hotel suites. Every surface reflects a level of craftsmanship that exceeds standard factory assembly. It only looks obvious that the interior would be comfortable, but in reality, parts of the cabin were handcrafted by artisans from the yacht industry. These specialists brought marine-grade luxury and materials into the trucking world, ensuring that every joint and finish can withstand the constant vibrations of the road. The exterior maintains the same rigorous standards, with anniversary-specific badging and a custom paint scheme that highlights the elongated lines of the chassis. Polished wheels and a chrome-heavy front end ensure the vehicle commands attention at any location. But this unit is not merely a static showpiece intended for a museum. It covers real miles across the United States, appearing at specialized events and truck shows to demonstrate its operational viability. The engineering provides a functional vision of how sleeper design can evolve to meet the needs of long-distance operators. The truck serves as both a tribute to the previous century and a technical blueprint for the next generation of highway transport. The material reaches a point where utility and luxury are no longer separate entities. This machine concludes its demonstration of power and comfort, standing as a completed evolution of the classic long-haul silhouette. 589 Ultra Cab is the designation for one of the most recent and technologically sophisticated models in the Peterbilt lineup. Why would a modern manufacturer invest so much effort into a design that mirrors the past? At first glance, the vehicle appears to be a relic of a bygone era, but in reality, it is a calculated engineering feat designed to preserve the traditional soul of American trucking while integrating the extreme comfort standards required by contemporary long-haul logistics. It only looks like a vintage machine, as the internal systems are entirely modern. The Ultra Cab configuration defines the structural essence of this specific variant. It features a custom-built sleeper compartment that measures more than 150 inches in total length. This translates to more than 12.5 feet of interior living space, a dimension that transforms the vehicle from a mere transport tool into a dedicated environment for rest and efficiency. One can notice how the elongated chassis accommodates this massive living module without compromising the structural integrity of the frame. But this is just the beginning. 6 cylinders arranged in an inline configuration form the heart of the power plant located beneath the prominent hood. The Packard MX-13 engine, with a displacement of 12.9 liters, generates a sustained output of 510 horsepower. This mechanical force is supplemented by more than 1,850 pound-feet of torque. It is visible how the cooling systems and air intakes are positioned to manage the thermal loads generated by such high-performance metrics. Everything only gets more complicated when examining the drivetrain. A 12-speed automated transmission manages the power delivery to a 6x4 drive system. This mechanical arrangement allows the heavy machine to handle steep, sustained climbs and significant payloads, with a level of smoothness that belies its massive physical footprint. Efficiency remains a priority despite the traditional exterior styling. The process is only gaining momentum as the focus shifts to the interior environment. Stepping into the Ultra Cab reveals an atmosphere more akin to a high-end recreational vehicle than a standard industrial workstation. The layout includes a queen-size bed, a microwave oven, and a built-in refrigerator for long-term food storage. Overhead cabinets provide organized storage for equipment, while ambient light-emitting diode strips provide low-energy illumination across the living quarters. Dedicated climate control systems ensure that the internal temperature remains constant regardless of external weather conditions. Upscale finishes define the aesthetic of the cabin, which utilizes leather surfaces and polished chrome accents throughout the interface. A fully digital dashboard is integrated into the cockpit, providing the driver with real-time data through modern control systems. One can notice the contrast between the classic exterior and the high-resolution displays that monitor every engine parameter. It gets more complex further on. The exterior of the truck maintains an unmistakable stance, characterized by its long nose and twin vertical exhaust stacks. Chrome wheels reflect the surroundings as the vehicle moves, emphasizing the traditional aesthetic that has made this model a favorite among custom builders and private collectors. One specific customer reportedly purchased 2 units simultaneously, designating one for active service and the other for long-term storage as a financial investment. This underscores the perceived value of combining old-school industrial attitude with the luxury of a mobile condominium. The vehicle successfully merges these two disparate worlds into a single functional platform ready for the road. "605 horsepower is the peak output generated by the heavy-duty engine at the heart of this Peterbilt 389. Why is such immense power necessary for a single vehicle? One might assume a standard engine could manage the load, but this fully customized build features an extended chassis and a massive sleeper conversion that requires significant force to move. The Cummins X15 engine, a 15-liter inline-six powerhouse, provides over 2,000 pound-feet of torque to ensure the rig remains capable in any road condition. It only looks obvious that a truck is meant for simple transport, but in reality, this machine is a modern classic that balances tradition with contemporary engineering. An 18-speed manual transmission allows the driver to maintain absolute control over every gear change. The 6x4 drivetrain works in tandem with an air suspension system to ensure the truck glides smoothly across the pavement. Even with the substantial weight of the custom living quarters, the mechanical assembly prevents jarring movements. It is visible how the polished chrome accents reflect the surrounding environment as the vehicle moves. But this is just the beginning. Everything only gets more complicated when examining the interior architecture of the sleeper. The cabin features a full bed, built-in cabinetry, a microwave, a refrigerator, and a television set. Fine wood and leather finishes are applied throughout the space to create an atmosphere that is both rugged and comfortable. The dashboard integrates analog gauges with modern technological interfaces, maintaining a retro-modern aesthetic that respects historical design without sacrificing current functionality. One can notice how the layout maximizes every square inch of the extended frame. The process is only gaining momentum as the personal history of the vehicle comes to light. 2 owners who participate in long-haul travel as a pair remained personally involved in every stage of the design process. They selected a custom paint scheme and a specific name inspired by their own professional and personal story. Every detail of the construction reflects the specific requirements of a couple living on the road for weeks at a time. This proves that a legacy design does not impose limitations on modern utility. The vehicle serves as a specialized foundation for building a highly personalized transport environment. Transition to the next level. The next truck in the series presents a configuration that deviates even further from standard factory specifications. 500 horsepower and 1,850 pound-feet of torque serve as the mechanical foundation for the Volvo VNL64 T300. Why is this specific configuration chosen for a vehicle that functions as a permanent residence? The power generated by the 13-liter Volvo D13 engine ensures that the massive weight of a custom living module does not compromise highway performance. A 12-speed I-shift automated transmission manages this output, prioritizing fluid transitions and fuel efficiency across thousands of miles. The drivetrain operates in a 6x4 configuration to maintain traction and stability. One can notice how the full air suspension system compensates for the immense length of the chassis, absorbing road vibrations before they reach the cabin. This technical setup allows the vehicle to carry an ARI Legacy sleeper, measuring 180 inches in length without sacrificing handling precision. The process of integration between the factory cab and the custom module is only gaining momentum as more operators seek total autonomy on the road. It only looks obvious that a sleeper provides a bed, but in reality, this unit functions as a fully self-contained ecosystem. The interior volume accommodates a full kitchen equipped with a functional stove, a microwave, and a full-size refrigerator for long-term food storage. A stainless steel sink is integrated into the cabinetry, which provides ample space for supplies. The camera glides along the premium wood finishes and leather upholstery that line the walls, concealing high-density insulation that maintains a constant internal climate regardless of external weather conditions. But this is just the beginning of the amenities housed within the steel frame. A complete bathroom featuring a dedicated shower allows for total independence from roadside rest areas. In the rear section, a queen-sized bed sits adjacent to a flat-screen television, creating a partitioned living space that mirrors a traditional home. The sheer scale of the cabin is visible from the exterior, where the elongated wheelbase dictates a wider turning radius and a commanding presence on the asphalt. Everything only gets more complicated when balancing these luxury features with aerodynamic efficiency. Chrome wheels and custom paint applications provide a polished visual finish to the aerodynamic shell of the VNL. This specific unit was commissioned by a couple who transitioned to full-time life on the road, liquidating their stationary real estate to operate a small business directly from the sleeper module. It is visible how the design blends commercial hauling capabilities with high-end residential engineering. The truck serves as a mobile headquarters, proving that mechanical performance and domestic comfort can exist within a single synchronized machine. The road becomes a permanent environment rather than a transit route through this specialized engineering. From here, the narrative moves to an even more complex example of heavy-duty customization. This build concludes the exploration of luxury long-haul integration, transitioning toward a rig that fundamentally redefines the limits of custom truck manufacturing. 379 is the model designation of the Peterbilt that stands as a definitive icon among American heavy-duty vehicles. Why did Smith Trucking choose to transform this specific chassis into the largest unit in their entire operational fleet? While the standard model is already legendary, this custom-engineered machine elevates that status by merging extreme mechanical output with a highly specialized luxury sleeper configuration. The process is only gaining momentum. 160 inches is the total length of the extended sleeper cabin integrated into the stretched frame. It seems simple to call this a cabin, but in reality, it functions as a fully autonomous living environment. Inside the structure, one can notice the precise installation of dark wood cabinetry, a microwave, a refrigerator, and a television unit. The engineering team integrated a full enclosed bathroom and premium reclining seating, ensuring the space is insulated against external noise and temperature fluctuations. Everything only gets more complicated when considering the balance between this mass and the vehicle's mobility. 600 horsepower is generated by the 15-liter inline-six engine mounted under the long, characteristic hood. This massive power plant produces over 1,850 pound-feet of torque, allowing the truck to maintain cruising speeds while pulling heavy loads across continental distances. The camera glides along the drivetrain, where an 18-speed manual transmission manages the output through a 6x4 drive configuration. It gets more complex further on. At first glance, the exterior appears to be purely aesthetic, but the stretched chassis is a technical necessity to support the oversized living quarters without compromising structural integrity. The equipment is finished with a custom two-tone paint scheme, complemented by high-polished chrome wheels and vertical exhaust stacks that rise above the roofline. One can notice how the long frame distributes the weight of the massive sleeper across the rear axles with calculated precision. The process does not end at this stage. The rolling beast is the specific designation given to this mechanical giant by the team at Smith Trucking. It serves as a primary exhibition piece at industry events, frequently becoming the most documented vehicle at technical showcases. Every mile of highway traveled by this Peterbilt 379 serves as a demonstration of extreme customization and engineering endurance. This is not the limit of such designs. Transition to the next level. The subsequent vehicle in the series surpasses the traditional definition of a truck, integrating a mobile residence and a functional garage into a single specialized transport unit. The material and the machine are ready to move to the next phase of the demonstration without haste. 500 horsepower and 1,850 pound-feet of torque are the starting figures for a machine that redefines the limits of mobile habitation. Why combine a heavy-duty commercial tractor with a luxury living space and a functional workshop? A standard truck serves as a tool for transport, but for a couple living and working on the road full-time, the vehicle must function as a permanent residence and a mobile logistics hub. This Volvo VNL64 T300 model successfully bridges the gap between industrial power and domestic comfort. But this is just the beginning. The mechanical foundation relies on a 13-liter inline-six Volvo D13 engine. Power is managed through a 12-speed I-shift transmission, ensuring the 6x4 drivetrain maintains traction across varying elevations. One can notice how the full air suspension system compensates for the massive weight, stabilizing the chassis regardless of the terrain encountered on long-haul routes. It only looks obvious to build a large truck, but in reality, the integration of a custom ARI legacy. Sleeper stretching over 160 inches requires precise engineering to maintain structural integrity. The interior environment is optimized for permanent residency through a series of refined technical solutions. A queen-sized bed, a complete kitchen equipped with a microwave and stovetop, and a high-capacity refrigerator provide the necessary resources for daily survival. The cabin features upper storage cabinets and a fully enclosed bathroom with a functional shower, all regulated by an independent climate control system. Everything only gets more complicated when considering the transition from the living quarters to the rear of the vehicle. At first glance, the rear section appears to be a standard storage unit, but it houses an integrated garage accessible via a specialized roll-up door and a loading ramp. This space is specifically engineered to transport a motorcycle and various pieces of mobile work equipment. The garage is equipped with dedicated lighting systems and ventilation to serve as a mobile workshop and cargo zone. It is visible how the equipment gradually fills the organized interior, allowing for the secure transport of secondary vehicles. The process is only gaining momentum. Visually, the rig presents a long and elegant profile characterized by an extended sleeper and polished chrome accents. The custom paint job emphasizes the unique silhouette of the truck, making it a distinctive presence at any industrial facility or exhibition. The camera glides along the polished surfaces where the word "freedom" is inscribed, reflecting the owner's philosophy of a life without geographic limits. This build demonstrates that a commercial platform can be transformed into a comprehensive lifestyle solution. Thus, the vehicle stands as a testament to the intersection of heavy engineering and personalized architecture. The transformation of the Volvo VNL64 T300 into a mobile estate is now complete. The journey of this machine continues across the highway network without haste. 445 inches is the total length of the wheelbase on this custom-built Kenworth W990. Why is such an extreme chassis length necessary for a single semi-truck? The answer lies behind the cab, where a jaw-dropping 261-inch ARI Legacy sleeper cabin occupies the frame. This massive structure provides over 21 feet of dedicated living space, transforming the vehicle into one of the largest and most luxurious sleeper cabs ever to travel the interstate system. It only looks obvious that a truck of this scale requires immense power to maintain momentum. The process of moving this legendary machine is handled by a 15-liter Cummins X15 engine. This powerhouse generates 605 horsepower and more than 2,000 pound-feet of torque. One can notice the steady rhythm of the engine as it works in tandem with an 18-speed Eaton manual transmission and a 6x4 drivetrain. Everything only gets more complicated as the focus shifts to the structural integrity of the long-haul chassis. Heavy-duty air suspension is integrated to support the stretched body and ensure stability during transit. The frame is engineered specifically for drivers who intend to live on the road full-time, providing a platform that is more than capable of handling the weight of the massive cabin. But this is just the beginning. Entering the sleeper cabin is comparable to stepping into a high-end luxury apartment. The interior features a comprehensive kitchen equipped with a large refrigerator, a microwave, and a stovetop for meal preparation. Storage is provided by a series of integrated cabinets that surround a dedicated dining table. It is visible how the living area transitions into a zone designed for rest and recreation. A king-size bed serves as the centerpiece, flanked by comfortable recliners and a big-screen television connected to a premium audio system. A fully enclosed bathroom is built into the layout, featuring a ceramic toilet and a functional shower. The finish is characterized by dark wood textures and soft recessed lighting. Dual-zone climate control systems regulate the internal environment regardless of external weather conditions. Transition to the next level occurs when observing the exterior aesthetics of the W990. The long hood is complemented by vertical chrome exhaust stacks and polished wheels that reflect the surroundings. Because of the extreme length of this setup, its presence on the road is impossible to ignore. In fact, several truck stops across the United States have been forced to modify and adjust their parking spots specifically to accommodate rigs of this specific magnitude. At first glance, such a build might seem like a mere exercise in aesthetics, but in reality, it represents the absolute peak of custom sleeper design. The vehicle serves as a functional home for professional drivers who have dedicated their entire lives to the road. This W990 demonstrates exactly what is possible when industrial engineering meets high-end residential comfort. The material is ready to move to the next processing phase without haste. Thus ends one of the key stages of exploring the world of custom heavy-duty transport. 100% of the engineering effort invested in these vehicles goes far beyond the simple mechanics of hauling heavy freight. These massive trucks function as real homes on wheels, constructed with an exceptional level of technical customization, internal comfort, and structural precision. One can notice how the equipment gradually transforms from a mere industrial machine into a complex living environment during the assembly process. Why is such extreme engineering precision necessary for a vehicle that spends its life on the highway? At first glance, a truck is just a tool for logistics, but in reality, these long sleeper configurations incorporate full kitchens, functional bathrooms, and integrated entertainment systems within their steel frames. Behind every bolt and structural build, there is a technical justification for the weight distribution and spatial efficiency. Everything only gets more complicated as more amenities are integrated. The equipment is not just a collection of mechanical parts. These rigs represent the pursuit of independence and a specialized lifestyle for operators who choose the highway over fixed residences. One can notice how the camera glides along the polished surfaces where every square inch serves a dual purpose of utility and habitability. These machines command respect not only for their massive physical dimensions, but for the engineering standards they uphold. It is visible how the heavy-duty components support the weight of a mobile residence without compromising the driving dynamics. The process is only gaining momentum as more specialized rigs enter the transport network. Customization reaches its limit in the way these sleeper units are designed to withstand years of constant vibration while maintaining the integrity of the living quarters. One can notice how the transition to the next level of design occurs when the driver's seat becomes the entryway to a fully functional apartment. It does not end at this stage. Automated systems and reinforced frames ensure that everything a person needs for a full-time existence remains secured right behind the operator. The trucks stand as legendary examples of what is possible when heavy industry meets personal comfort. Thus ends the overview of these extreme and legendary rigs as they continue their journey across the continent.